xRhythms.
Hey and welcome to xRhythms. We've got a super exciting video that we're filming today, and we've got Nola here, and we're going to be talking about all this Black Lives Matter movement. We want to get a bit of understanding around what is this, why are people doing this, and that's why Nola's here, because he actually started a petition around this. So what do you think all this fuss is about?
Okay, so as we have known, like I think it was 10 or 11 days ago now, we saw George Floyd basically murdered at the hands of those who were called to serve and protect. That sparked and triggered a flurry of, no, I won't say a flurry, but a string of protests, not just in the US, but around the globe.
Yeah.
Not just about this incident that's happened with George Floyd and Derek Chauvin, the arresting officer, but with against police brutality that's been happening, systematic oppression that's been happening against people of color and specifically Black people for the past however many years, since slavery and thereafter, of course. So over in the UK, I saw that we aren't innocent in that, and that the UK too has a long history of police brutality against people of color.
But does it really happen that often in the UK?
It's a good question, actually. I think in the UK, I always say things are a lot more covert. So when we look over in the US, just with US culture, things are just big and they're in your face and they're just out there. But in the UK, we have a much more stiff upper lip, super under the rug kind of, mentality. Namely, we can talk about Mark Duggan and Stephen Lawrence. They were killed, basically, by arresting officers, obviously using excessive force, but nothing was ever done. The officers weren't charged and no one was brought to justice for these things. And actually the media portrayal of the two men was so twisted and so skewed so that the officers would be able to get off. So those are just two examples, but yeah, absolutely it happens over here, unfortunately.
What does that matter to, I guess, the wider amount of people? As in, why were so many people posting on Blackout Tuesday?
Blackout Tuesday, I understand that a lot of people are just doing it, just to kind of show their support and everything like that. It originated from executives and higher ups who were people of color in the media industry saying, okay, we need you, the media industry, to show your support. So what it was actually supposed to be was, I'll put it in two ways. Some people were doing it in the sense of, we don't want to buy anything or sell anything because we are focusing all of our attention on the systematic oppression of Black people. But also, it was supposed to be a day where no one posts like selfies and your lifestyle videos and your this and your that and memes and everything, and everyone just give one sole focus and attention to the racial oppression that is going on towards Black people. And what was your other question?
About why should people care?
So, as a believer, as a Christian, there is a parable that we have, and it is the parable of the Good Samaritan, where there is a man that is beaten down along the side of the road, and 3 men come alongside him. There is the fellow Jew, he sees him, walks past him, and he doesn't do anything. Then there is the priest, who also sees him, walks past him, and does nothing. And then we have the Good Samaritan, who is not like him. He doesn't look like the Jewish man. He doesn't have the same blood as a Jewish man. In fact, the Samaritans were oppressed by the Jews. So actually, the Samaritan had every right to walk past the man more than a Jewish person, more than a priest did. But he doesn't. He stops. He sees him, and he sees that he's beaten and bruised, takes him to the inn, and then pays, not just for that night, but for however long the Jewish man needs in order to recover. He says, I will come back and I will cover that too. Jesus calls us to do that. He says, don't turn a blind eye, don't turn your back, don't see someone suffering injustice who doesn't look like you and then just turn away. Jesus calls us and says, no, you be the Good Samaritan. Yes, this doesn't directly affect you, but it's directly affecting someone who I've called you to love, called you to hear, and called you to see as equal. I would say what we as Black people need to hear as well is that you're willing to speak up to your fellow white friend, even when Black people are absent in the conversation. And I think that's very, very, very important. It's nice and it's well and good to say something when another Black person is there, but it's what you do when we aren't present, or even not just Black people, just when what you do when someone else isn't present is a measure of your character. And so then, like, if we aren't present, we ask you to speak in where you hear someone enforce a stereotype or just out and out speak ill and speak down of Black people, or who try and discredit the movement that's going on right now. Okay, so I think the first thing to do, like immediately, that you can do on your phone is to